she doesn't realize we've been following her career since high school because we knew that she was going to be the one that we could pass the baton to and would actually take up the next fight for young people who are in foster care. Those of you who don't know me, I grew up in foster care and I had the pleasure of choosing my foster parents. And so since I couldn't pay them back, I've tried to pay it forward. John O'Toole was the person who gave me my first job at the National Center for Youth Law. And he instilled in me, along with several other members of that organization, Abigail English, as well as many others, about the importance of meeting people where they are as opposed to where I am. And when I met Lily, I knew that she was someone who could meet people where they are rather than where she is. The level of compassion that she shows is enormous. So each of you who are in this audience, feel very proud that you're at the beginning of this career, because I do think she's going to move a lot of pillars out of the way, and we're going to see her in some governor's office, in some high-level institution making change. So if you're ready to get started. Anything you want to say?
Well, I didn't prepare any remarks, but I wanted to thank each of you for supporting me throughout my life, whether it's some of my colleagues who've just known me for a few months or a few years, or it's people who've known me since elementary school. I have lived with half of the people in this room. I have shared bathrooms and holiday meals and drafts of college essays and tears and phone calls late at night, and you have been supports to me and encouragement for me and my family, both biological and adopted through love over time. I didn't think I was going to make it this far. I always hoped, but sometimes I didn't think it was going to happen. And I can't believe it's here. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
The beauty of private swearing-ins is that you get to, do it your way.
Okay.
So Lily, are you ready?
Okay.
If you'll raise your right hand, and please repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Lily Colby,
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of an attorney and a counselor at law
of an attorney and counselor at law
to the best of my knowledge and ability
to the best of my knowledge and ability
as an officer of the court.
as an officer of the court.
I will strive to conduct myself
I will strive to conduct myself
at all times with dignity,
at all times with dignity,
courtesy,
courtesy,
and integrity.
and integrity.
Now, you have a few more. You will be a light for those who have no light. I will be.
I will be a light for those who have no light,
And a voice for the voiceless.
and a voice for the voiceless.
Welcome to the State Bar.
Okay.
It's official.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, is there anyone else who would like to share some words on behalf of Lily at this time? This is your chance to come forward, Mr. O'Toole. Sounds
Yeah, you can't go anywhere.
All right, Mr. Gary.
My name is Charles Carey, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Lily most of her life since she was a young child. And I can say unequivocally that she is probably, she's been my teacher. The way in which she has lived her life has just, as a lot of you know, has been phenomenal. She has been an extremely mature person, taking on responsibilities that most of us would have found difficult to do. So I honor Lily Colby.
I am Scott's dad, so she's married to my son, but this is Lily, my daughter. And a very good person. You are amazing. You have truly amazing. And it was.
I love you too. Yes.
My name is Mark Copeland, recently retired public information officer from Berkeley Schools, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Lily since she was a little girl, starting with Camp Elmwood at St. John's, the church that I was baptized in, all through, and then through her school years. And it was incredible working actually with her. I worked with her for a year when she was a student director on the school board. The single most significant school board student director we have ever had in the history of BUSD. It just really, literally changed minds. The board would have one plan and Lily would speak and they would go, oh, wait a minute, we didn't understand that. And they would completely change that. Today, I hear board members refer to the student directors as someone who has an advisory vote, but we probably shouldn't let them speak on the issues because they're still really students, which I've been against all along. They should have the equal voting rights as those adults on the board because they were elected by their peers just as the other board members were. But I remember one specific time when the bargaining was going on around salaries and negotiations, and it's always tense and it's always tough. And the teachers did a work to rule, which means that they stop at 3 o'clock and they don't do a thing after that. Well, it's the teachers' dreams and their special projects that get lost in that, not the normal school day. So it's the teachers that suffer and the students. And Lily sat on the dais and wept as she said, it's us that you're hurting, not the system. You're not impacting the system, you're hurting us and you're hurting the teachers that we love. When we go to a favorite teacher and say, can you look at my paper? And the teacher with tears says, I can't. She clearly moved the board and the entire community on that issue. I've seen one move that was in the wrong direction, I thought, and that was when the board was looking at the after-school programs and saying, we've got to build another tier so that people can pay to be included in the programs, because in many of the programs, if you didn't qualify financially, you couldn't be in the program. And Lily just went, oh, whoa, wait a minute. You can't deny a single student access. You cannot put a dollar figure behind that. You just can't do that. And the entire audience was freaking out because all of those parents who wanted into the program were saying, we're willing to pay, let us. We're going, oh no, this is going to blow it up. And I signaled Lily, go out to the back. She came out to the back and said, they actually want that to happen. So it's a good thing, but what she did was she stopped the process, and because the board said, we're not going to even look at this until we fix this. So what they included into the process was a guarantee that no student would ever be denied access to the program because of finances. So and that's the only time ever that I saw that she didn't have the best mind on that panel. And even then, it was because she thought the right thing. I will not let a latchkey go unattended. And watched this as, you know, she won a state championship in wrestling, and all of these things. But the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen about Lily is that all the people around her, I've never seen a single person look at her with jealousy, spite, or angst at all of the attention that we have bestowed on Lily. There's not been a person that hasn't looked at Lily and said, if there's a more gracious, more passionate, more simple person that has no intention of getting attention for all of this, there's no one I've ever seen that didn't look at her and say, wow, I see that light, I see what she brings. And I mean, I've seen so many cases where in high school, when students rising above, when she was brought to the light, and we still see her on the commercials about once a month. You know? And yeah, you know, I've never seen any student that got that much attention that didn't have some people that thought, why? No one ever had that question with Lily, because I think the simplest person realized the impact that she will have. And her elementary school principal told me that she was failing 5th grade and she had to take it over again. The only school that had a 6th grade, you know? And what she told me was that Lily said, no, let me do them both simultaneously. Okay, so for a kid who couldn't make it to school because of her situation for 5th grade, to then let her take 5th and 6th simultaneously, what Cam told me in the end was towards the end of the year she had to say, Lily, you're sick, go home. It's okay, you've made it, you're doing it, it's working. She accomplished it, you know, with the teacher making sure that she had breakfast in the morning, so many different things, because this community has always seen the light and taken care of Lily. But Lily has always shown us that it's the best possible investment we could make, not only in our future, but the future of homeless kids. You know, when she went into an internship with Lonnie Hancock, Lonnie Hancock, for years after that, would say to me, Mark, you got another high school kid that can write? Say, you don't understand. No, they can't. She's not the normal kid, and she's not the normal woman. She is absolutely Wonder Woman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is John O'Toole. Until recently, I worked with Lily at the National Center for Youth Law. But I first met her when I was assigned to her as a mentor for public interest students during her first year of law school. And so I met with Lily, and I talked to her for a while, and I realized that I could learn far more from her than she would ever learn from me. She was so much more accomplished and mature and focused on what she wanted to do. A lot of people in law school have no idea why they're there. Lily knew, and she knew where she was going. She was focused, she was brilliant, she was incredibly impressive, and I had nothing to do with it whatsoever, because that's how she arrived in law school. So we're just so proud of her going through law school as she did. It's not easy. She did a remarkable job, and I personally am enormously proud of her. Her colleagues at the National Center for Youth Law are proud of her, and it's especially nice that we had Judge Trina Thompson today, because you know, she's known Lily for a long time, and she also is a child advocate, and she worked at the National Center for Youth Law. And I didn't know that Lily knew her, so that was news to me. And the news I gave to her, she didn't know that 2 things about Judge Thompson. One is that she's a former track star. She didn't know that. And secondly, that she worked at the National Center for Youth Law. So we gained some information. In any event, we're very proud of you. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Jesse Hannell. I'm the current executive director, and I try to do about half as much as what John did. And I'm certainly not as well spoken. But what I will say, first, it doesn't surprise me that Lily knew Judge Thompson, because when I first started working here as a law clerk, it took me about 2 days to realize, you know everybody, and everybody thinks the world of you. And it was incredible, and I think that speaks to the integrity that you bring to the work. And it's transparent. And all I can say is, on behalf of the staff, we feel honored to work with you. And you are a constant reminder, both in your actions and in what you've accomplished, of what we need to expect and what is possible and what every vulnerable child should achieve. Not the minimum of stopping harm, but the maximum of what we need to make sure that we do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Shut down. I
She
think.
was just turning off that sound.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you all for coming. We're gonna move the party to across the street for anybody who would like some sweets and some just fruits and snacks and drinks. Unless there's anybody else who wants to talk before we go. Are we okay? Okay. Thank you all.